It's okay. I was trying to lead everybody to it. What happened here? All right, there we go. So you guys should all be able to see me in that camera, right? I'm orange, red, and yellow. This is an actual FLIR camera that they use for mechanics and firefighters. So everything around me should be somewhat blue or black. And with that said, we're looking for those blue or black spots to move on their own because those are our colder areas. So the red, orange, and yellow, we want to try to keep somebody's skin temperature in view. Why? Because we're going to be 97 to 99 degrees, right? So we're going to be the warmest thing out here. When you have that array of color, it's a lot easier to see something moving that shouldn't be. So if you take me out of the picture, the red, orange, and yellow is going to go somewhere else. Did you guys all see how it kind of fluctuated? Sorry, I kind of moved that kind of quick. But again, without skin tone in there, it's a lot easier to see it just when somebody's in view, just so you guys know. So, Deborah, I think I'm going to go with you on this one.
Okay.
You're going to hold that horizontal all night long. We're going to do a couple of start and stops with that throughout the night, just because the software for FLIR, even though their hardware is great, their software is not. So just so we don't lose all of the really good stuff, it is recording right now, so I'll let you know when those start and stops will be.
Okay.
Also, that records audio. So again, we have another point of audio for EVPs. So let's get into spirit boxes. So spirit boxes, for those of you that don't watch the TV shows and are not familiar with paranormal equipment at all. Wow, you guys all? Okay, so Annie Grace, Liza, okay. You don't watch them either? Okay, that's fine. I got tools for everybody. So, spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. This is going to sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. Are you bored already, Eliza?
No.
I seen that sigh. I'm like, we got a lot of way to go. So, sweep through all the FM radio stations. On the TV shows, it's your white noise. I'm going to crack jokes all night long, just so you guys know. In the white noise, they say you can hear disembodied voices. On TV, they'll kind of give you the phrase in the middle of the screen and kind of tell you what they think they heard of it. But we're going to be doing this a little bit differently, only because disembodied voices, I get them, meaning it's not an actual radio chatter, meaning a song lyric or a DJ. I get them, but only about 3 or 4 times a year. So with this one, I have it slowed down so that the radio chatter actually comes through. So with that said, the song lyrics, the DJs, the commercials, you're going to hear a little bit of voices out of it. Whatever we can make out, it's a 50-50 shot. I can tie it to the location, a person in history I'm talking about, or even something going on with one of us. So again, the cool thing about this one is it's going to record the entire session for us. So no background noise. It's not going to know the questions we're asking. It's not going to know any of the car noise. And it's even going to record even on mute. So even when I say let's turn the spirit boxes down, this one's going to give us a nice even recording that I'm going to give back to you tomorrow morning with about 15 to 20 markers to check out. So Angela, this one's going to go to you.
Okay.
So you have one button. There's a volume button right there at the top. It's a wheel. So kind of get used to where that's at. Obviously when I'm talking to the group, we want to keep it down. But I'll say let's go with spirit boxes up and we'll kind of get that just going. Continuing on with spirit boxes. So we're going to use 3 different types tonight. Normally I give this to 2 people, but I think we'll be okay with just 1 tonight. So, same thing here, again Grace, only this one does not record. So if Eliza, you want to help her out with this, because you're going to have a different tool, 2 of you can kind of verify what you both heard. You also only have 1 button to worry about. It's on the side of the ball speaker where my finger is. You hold it up gently and it'll give you some volume. You gotta give it a second and then hold it down when I say let's turn those spirit boxes down. That one goes to you. So that's what you think I forgot about you? So your device is a spirit box as well, only a different style. So let me show everybody else what it does first. As soon as it wants to start. So this one's going to give us a word from time to time in the middle of the screen. Yes, this is a phone app, and it's going to save all of those words to a list. The last tour I did a few nights ago had 74 terms and phrases. You can scroll through it, but we're going to clear them out because they already have their list. 80% of what comes up out of this list doesn't mean anything. It's a phone app. It's meant to be a game and a hoax. The other 5 to 20% are the things that are going to be relatable to the location, a person, or one of us. Same principle. You're going to get the full list back. However, I only highlight the words that are relevant. I give you the explanation why, and then give you a backlink so you guys know where I got my information from. So it's not going to be because Eliza told you how old she was when she got married, or how old I told you. Not you, Eliza. The other Eliza. It's not going to be because I told you. It's going to be because you heard it or seen it somewhere else, and I'll give you the backlink to show and prove why that number was true. Yeah. Let's see. Who do we want to go into next? ZILCA, because you have pretty much no experience or knowledge of any of these devices, we're going to give you the simplest one, but probably the most important. Is that okay? All right, so she's going to be working with EMF detection. So EMF meters are going to these are the ones you see on TV. They don't make any noise. She doesn't have to do anything besides let us know when these lights go off. However, electronics will make them go off. So I will kind of debunk as we see things happening with, cell phones, wiring, parking meters, buildings. We want this thing to go a little bit crazy. So you let us know when those lights go all over the place. The device you're going to have is kind of twofold on everybody in your party. So yours actually does 3 different functions. It has an EMF just like ZILCA. So the top number, anything above 2.5 is exciting. The bottom number, I'm sorry, what's the relationship here? Mom?
Eliza's mom.
Okay, so when mom has something going on with her device and we want to find out where that cold spot is coming from, we can measure that with the probe up here. That's the bottom number. Okay, so it's smaller. The last thing it does is it's motion detection. So if anything gets close to this antenna, it's going to make it go off. Notice I'm not touching it. The closer it gets, the higher it's going to go. So again, this is a millimeter. I don't always keep this guy on. I will show you more about that at our first location. Just leave the little flap open for me so I can show you more about it when we get there. Oh, you get to carry the bag. No, I'm kidding. Been there. Paul, you get the brand new device. So, this guy is a little crazier. Brand new. You guys should not be able to see me in that very, very small lens. I know it's black and dark, but we're going to prove why it's black and dark right now. So we're going to turn on some lights. Notice you can't see the lights with your own eyes. This is full spectrum lighting. So we are looking for things in the dark that we can't normally see with our own eyes. So again, we're going to do start and stop with your video as well. And I'll show you a little bit about that between the 2 different lights at the top. I do use this for long range, and there's one down here for short range. So are you right or left-handed? Left. Left. Perfect. That's our setup that way. So that's the handle. And again, I'll show you more at the first location. Everybody should have a device at this point, right? Yep. All right. You guys have a good time. No kidding. I was just like, please don't leave us. Please don't leave us.
I wonder how many data in the bar.
Well, we're going to talk about that bar. That's exactly the reason why we started here. So, you guys got me talking already. So, we're going to crack jokes, get you guys alive, wake them up. So, obviously this is Big John's Tavern, right? Used to be called Big John's Tavern before, back in the day in the 1950s through the 1970s. This is named after a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. Not Kennedy like with a K, Kennedy like candy with an extra A. So this was his place. He used to sit in the back of the bar and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. So one night 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. Big John has a bartender, throw them out. So they leave, pretty angry. Come back the next night, they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on and starts pounding these guys into the floor, just beating the heck out of them. So a couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck with a bullet and it goes into the wall. He gets up and he goes back to the bar and he tells the bartender to get him another beer. We'll get the guys on the floor an ambulance. First off, John's the one that got shot. He's the only one that got up. Let's just point that out. Second off, nobody died in that story. So what's haunting the place? It's the bullet hole. It's allegedly still in the front of the bar. They just renovated the place about a month ago. Like they just finished it, so I need to go back and see if that bullet hole's still there. The people before, sitting in the front of the bar, would actually get, a couple of light symptoms: headaches, nauseous, queasiness. I bring this story up on purpose because I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect you in the event that we actually find some. If anybody feels any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately so we can move the whole group out of the area. I will tell you, psychics normally do not make it through my tours. So, I'm just going to put it out there. Not to scare anybody, because that's literally the scariest part of the whole tour. Let's not talk about our own health, because Tessa looks a little worried. So, with that said, have you guys taken any Charleston tours at all? Like historical? None?
Yes,
really? Nothing?
I have.
We had a big earthquake here in 1886. It's a big deal. Not to mention, we just had one here the other day. Did you guys hear about that? Was that yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah.
I did not hear about that.
We did. It was like a 2.8 and then a 3.0 aftershock.
Must have been during my sleeping.
What time? Yeah,
it was about. Well, I was sitting at my desk, and my desk rumbled, and I live pretty far inland, like a good 30 miles. And I was like, oh, and I have a giant desk, by the way. Brand new house. I'm like, the house is settling, one of those kind of things. No, I watched the news later. There was an earthquake. It was 2.8 at 12:40, and then I think at 12:49 we had an aftershock of 3.0. So it was really, really weird.
Wow. We weren't here
yeah,
yet.
We almost won.
Oh, I know. We were eating tacos.
Did your tacos break? Did they rumble
They were
apart?
soft tacos.
Soft tacos. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. But anyway, back in 1886, we had a big one. It was like the 7.8 on the Richter scale. We don't really know the exact number because the Richter scale wasn't actually invented yet. We're going based on the amount of damage that it caused. But anyway, the mantle you guys see in the... No, I think raised this big uproar about yesterday's earthquake. But the mantle you see, guys, in the middle of the building, the white mantle, also goes around the front of the building. And from that big earthquake in 1886, a piece of it broke off and struck somebody in the back of the head and killed him. And they say you can see his ghost right here in the middle of East Bay Street. Notice I said apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because they don't have any proof. It's just a great segue, so ZILCA's not thinking about getting stick on a tour. So, not to mention, apparently I got to do is mention we had an earthquake here yesterday and everybody forgets that you can get sick on the tour. So, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yeah.
What do you think? You ready? All right, we're going to go this way.
So you said I'm leaving this on.
Yeah, until I tell you to shut it off.
Okay.
See the red square on there? That's
Yeah.
the record button. So when I say, let's go ahead and stop your video, you'll hit it and it'll turn to a circle.
And where do you want me to direct it?
We're going to talk more about that now.
I mean, right now, do I need to keep it on something?
Not necessarily. No, you're basically a camera person throughout the night.
Okay.
So whose idea was this out of your party?
We were talking about it. I think, did I bring it up on the ride up?
You brought up the ghost tours.
Yes. And then they did the research on the ride up. Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
We ride down.
Yeah, just like I said, this is not your typical type of ghost story. So, oh, look at that. ZILCA's got some activity. Good stuff. It's a little steady, so it's probably because we're close to the barn, but we're going to find out more as we kind of move along. So, welcome to what I call the Big Red Barn Lot. This is a very simple, this is a kind of a ghost hunting 101. This is your level 1. This history here is very short and simple, so it's just basically a spot where I get to go through each one of you and show you more tactics about your device, so that way we can learn much deeper history than just football players and ponies. So this is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. You guys can probably smell them. I cannot because I'm out here 6 nights a week. So I'm immune to the smell of manure and hay, apparently. But the history here is really simple. This is where we held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's it. 1860s and 1920s, roughly. Again, very rough history there. So let's talk about spirit boxes, because yes, we have 3 of them out here tonight. So this is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? Because that's the first question everybody wants to ask. Because if they answer no, that means somebody's here. So we're going to stay away from yes and no questions all night long. So we're going to ask really obvious questions in this location. If somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is. Obviously, we're going to be listening and looking for the color red. But keep in mind, we have 2 spirit boxes that are using song lyrics and DJs to convey messages. The word red might not be in the vocabulary during that specific 1 millisecond of the part of the sweep. It might actually come up with the word fire truck or heart, blood. All 3 of those things are specifically red. So again, it's not going to be truck just because we have a red truck here in the lot. It's going to be something that is always, always, always red. So that's why I use fire truck, heart, and blood, because I've seen those things in the past. Keep in mind, we are very close to Big John's. His teammates like to come through all the time. At times, we'll hear random clues, but I always like to get 2 clues to make sure we can verify the information. If you hear the number 40, and Tessa gets the word art on her word list, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Does that make sense where I need 2 clues? As the night goes on, you're going to find a lot of the stories I'm going to tell you have multiple people with the same name. So, lots of Elizas, a couple of Georges hanging around, some Charleses. Again, we need to know who the heck we're talking to. You guys are all here for some kind of paranormal evidence in some way, shape, or form, whether you're skeptic or not. So again, let's get those details and stay away from those yes or no questions. In the event you don't get an answer at what color is the Big Red Barn, right? You're going to go into something way more open. What's inside the barn? We have horses. They were delivery horses. Milk, eggs. These are all keywords. I will always give you keywords in every single story and slow down with those keywords so you know what you're listening for. Keep in mind, milk and eggs could also be calcium and protein. You see how we have to put these clues together? You're not going to have a full conversation with a dead guy. It's just not going to happen. They're going to tell you who they are based on little tiny things about them. It's up to us to be able to prove that that piece of information is actually legitimate. So, Spirit boxes, I can say you guys can probably start spreading around. We are going to stay within the confines of this slot. So folks with cameras, you're going to stay with me because I'm going to show you more tactics about your devices. But you're literally going to be asking those questions out loud to see what actually comes up. I'm going to jump over to the millimeter directly after the cameras because we need to show you how to use that motion meter, right? So we're going to jump into that, and then I'm going to start following. We're only going to be here like 5 minutes. Like, that's how quick this one is. So spirit boxes, let's spread out. If you wanted to hang out so you're not alone, you can. And I think the girls are going to be okay. We're going to be able to see them anyway. We're not going to be going too far. All right, everybody spread out, but cameras and Angela. So cameras. Again, do you get the gist of why we want to keep somebody in view at all times?
Yes, so that we can see the red
Right.
from the human.
So
Right.
point your camera at this wall for me, just for giggles.
Okay.
Is it mainly red right now?
Yes.
Keep it right there. Watch what happens to the wall.
Right.
See how it totally changed color? You also have a blue dot jumping around your screen, going to give you the coldest spot in the camera at that specific moment. It's going to move all over the place all the time. If you have the sky in view, it doesn't know what to measure, so it's automatically going to go into the sky. So again, it's not to say keep your camera pointed down, just try to keep the sky out of it. It just makes it a lot easier to find things. You also have a center crosshairs. If something is really weird and out of whack, you can move the camera so that the center of the screen actually lands on what you want to measure. So that way, I left those two things on there on purpose. This is a very scientific investigation in case you haven't got onto that already. When we're watching the video, we will have the center crosshairs, we will have the blue dot, we will not have the bar that you see on your right-hand side of your screen that's giving you the highest temperature and the low temperature. So that's kind of your gauge for real-time work only, just so you kind of know what's going on. In this lot, I will tell you, people, don't like their cameras being filmed. So to the both of you, if somebody's going to their cars, you're just going to go the opposite way. Just think of it if it were your car. And somebody's filming your car. However, if I were a car thief, this is my first tool because I know how long all these cars have been here based on their heat signature. But with that said, you're pretty much free to go if you want to catch up with the girls, just so you can kind of see what's going on there. I also gave them the specific spirit box that I did because it doesn't record, but yours does record audio. So if you're working with them, we might be able to catch what they're hearing.
Okay.
So again, I do all of this very strategically, so I know who's getting what. I kind of map it out before I leave the house.
And what, I'm keeping a person in the view, but then what am I looking for?
Blue and black spots to move on their own.
Okay.
So normally blue and black spots would just kind of be blobs, right? So if something kind of picks up and gets colder, which means it's going to get darker and then kind of wisps away, we obviously have something going on there. At the next location, because this is where it happened, I'm going to show you some actual evidence that I caught with that camera so you have a much better gist. In here, I just want you to get basically used to how the different types of material work. Metal, asphalt, brick, obviously vehicles. You have wood behind you. So, I mean, again, just see how those temperatures move around in your screen a little bit. Just kind of get used to it. The girls are listening for football players and ponies, so we'll kind of see what they come up with.
Okay.
All right. So, Paul, yours.
He'll talk to you. I think you're looking for a number.
Mine jumped to 5.
Okay. I don't know what mine is. The top number then? Okay, go back to that.
I did, but it went away again. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
What does mine do?
When he comes over, you can ask him questions. I can't remember because I was listening to everybody's.
Wait, it's going.
I'm just following y'all because I have to keep somebody in my camera.
Yeah. Mine said deal with it a couple seconds ago.
Are you hearing something?
You gotta put it close up to your ear. And it like occasionally like plays songs or something.
So you're looking for noise?
Yeah, so there's like static.
Are you supposed to be asking questions? I think
I'm supposed to do it here.
Alright, girls, have we heard anything on your spirit box?
I've just been hearing random clips of like music.
Okay, and
But
sometimes,
nothing like
yeah, I mean, sometimes I won't give you all of the story on purpose just to see what you're going to come up with. So every little thing you come up with, whether, I heard the name John, or I heard, it's huge. We're talking about Big John. He's a huge guy.
I can hardly like make out what they're saying.
And that's okay too. This is the hardest job out here, just so you know. So between yours and Angela's, and with this one, because it doesn't record anything, that's why I normally give it to 2 people. So when I have my full groups of 10, this definitely goes to 2 people because I only have 9 devices and the way things roll out. So again, hardest job. So just kind of pay close attention to it. So has your top number moved at all?
Yes.
To what? Did you put in your
One
high?
time it went to 4.6,
Okay.
and then another time like 5.1.
Okay,
and
that's
like,
good.
It's like gradually moved up some, and then it goes back down.
So we're going to actually shut the temperature off. So I wanted you to see some movement out of here, and your device doesn't record anything. So you're gonna, every time you and I talk, you're going to see me writing stuff down like a nerdy little scientist, and that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
So 4.6 and 5.1, right?
Yeah. And like 0.1, 0.7.
Again, 2.5 and higher is the only thing I'm truly interested in because the one that ZILCA has is a very basic one. It goes up to 25 milligauss. That's the units that we're using. Yours, I've seen spike out at 198. On the tours at 149. So 198 was at an investigation I was doing a few weeks ago. 148 is where I've seen it spike here on the tours. Not this specific location, but I'll tell you more about that later on. But right now we're going to shut the temperature off, so hold it still for me. Reason why is because now all the battery juice is going to go into your EMF, and it's going to move a lot quicker. So you won't get those exact, like, hey, it was 5.1, 4.6. You're going to say, it hit 17. And I don't care about the percent, like point whatever at that point. Just give me the highest number you find at each location. Pull up your antenna. Let's talk about your motion meter. I know I talk fast. I want to get us rolling. All right, so on the back where I left the flap open, there's 2 little white buttons. Go ahead and try to find them. I know it's like, so the one closest to the edge is the one you want to click into place. Perfect. A lot of people can't do that on the first try. Flip it back around, it's going to be very bright, just so you know. Alright, so what happens here is there's an EMF being generated around this antenna. So when something breaks it, it's going to kink and make lights. These are all going to be different lights. It goes from green to another green, yellow, blue, purple, red. So again, we can use this as kind of a call and answer. If somebody's here, make it go to blue, which means they have to be a certain distance to make it go to blue and stay there. So again, these 2 devices, like between your numbers here and the antenna, working independently. They're not in tandem. They're not working together. They're 2 different types of electromagnetic fields. One is measuring one type, one is creating one type. Let's say your movements, which I usually give this to females because they walk way more gracefully than guys. Most guys, it's going to jostle with every step, right? Because we're going to make it move. In the event it starts doing little skippity stuff like that, there's 4 buttons right here on the right-hand side. You can feel them. The very bottom one is the one that you need to reset the EMF field just to make sure it's not coming from your movements. And you can tap it as many times as you want to tonight. So kind of just jostle the device a little bit. There you go. See how it's going to go off? That's when you want to hit the bottom number or the bottom button to make sure it's not from your movements.
So do I just hit it like after I move it?
It's when you move it, it might actually stay there like that. So go ahead and hit it again. See how it reset it? That's what you're kind of looking for. You want to make sure it's not your movements. We're actually looking for real movement that's not from you. So movement that we can't see. So at times, when I give the spirit boxes their cue to turn down, that'll be your cue to turn off the REM pod, which is pushing the antenna, hit the little white button in the back.
Okay.
Fair enough? Yeah. Way more exciting now?
Yeah.
Find out, right? All right.
Are we all supposed to be asking questions?
You
during
can, as
this,
a group, it makes it a lot more fun if you are. So,
Okay.
watch the sticks. All right, let's go learn some relative.
So my constant is supposed to be hitting?
No, he's just saying if it goes off. Because just to make sure, like if it starts going off.
to the
Power lines?
Told Angela, like, you guys are one quiet group. Freaking me out a little bit.
We're very serious about this.
I know. You know what's funny? So, I'm sure you guys like read the reviews, right? So, and if you notice, a lot of people say, "Wow, this guy is like so serious, or he's so passionate about what he does." Like, I don't know how to take that sometimes. Like, somebody like you guys said, "You're so serious." It's like, I'm here to have fun. Like, this is me having fun. Like, so, we're definitely gonna turn off your emotion meter while I'm going through this history. What's that?
It's just a different version.
Is that right?
Yeah, very different version. And you guys will notice when I'm excited about a piece of evidence that's popping through. So far we haven't had anything where I'm like, ooh, that's awesome. So again, the only thing we have so far is the name Robert that showed up on Tessa's list. So we'll kind of see that's possibly relevant to maybe one of Big John's teammates. You have something else?
Colin was right after Robert.
I've seen that, but I
Robert and then
don't think Colin would have been a very popular name during 1947. So
Yeah,
again,
that tracks.
I'm not going to discount it. I'll look into it as I do with everything. Yeah, C-O-L-I-N. So, welcome to another beautiful site of Charleston, everybody. If you guys don't know where to park by the time you're done with me, I don't know how to help you. You got issues I just cannot fix. I'm sorry. But this place, again, we talked about what it used to be. This was the home to Eliza and Charles Pinckney. Their mansion sat in the front of this lot. Eliza's garden, yes, I told you there's going to be a lot of Elizas. Eliza's garden came from that left tree over there and came all the way across, and we are standing where the slave and servant quarters would have been for the home. So the Pinckney family was very large. They owned many pieces of property. So again, this is just the servants for the home that lived back here. In the event you guys come back here and you start getting things that are relevant to slave and servants, I cannot prove any of that because there's no record of any of them. There's a few names, but we'll kind of go through that as we kind of move along. This is the emptiest I think I've ever seen this lot. There's only one vehicle here. What do you have? Another Robert. So usually when something pops up twice, it usually means I need to pay attention to it. So I will definitely be looking into a Robert here. Well, as far as the spirit boxes, this is not what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the red barn. Okay, so the answers to the questions you're going to ask are going to come from your spirit boxes. I will not be giving you the answers. And unless we don't get the answers from the spirit boxes, I'll give them to you before we leave. I'm not going to leave you hanging. So, with that said, Eliza and Charles, who the heck were these people? They had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Charleses, in case you lost count. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Very big deal for us, but you guys are all on vacation and don't care about politics, and neither do I. So, we're going to move on to Eliza. She's way cooler anyway. And yes, I'm going to say your name a lot. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to tell you what that number is. I will tell you that Charles was over double her age. So some of you might think that's kind of gross. 60. She was not 60. But he was not 60 either. So again, we'll kind of wait. You don't have to show me every word. I'll catch up with you.
Sorry.
Otherwise, we're going to be here for 2 hours telling the story of Eliza Pinckney. So she married Charles because it was out of love. It wasn't out of a green card or citizenship or anything like that. This was the 1740s. Those things didn't even exist yet. Yes, this was a marriage out of love. But Eliza's father over in England thought he was dying and he wanted to see all of his kids one last time. So she didn't want to go because she didn't think he was dying. So she stayed put. She got married. She was right. Dad didn't die right away. I know. Eliza's stories are boring, aren't they? So, skip you on.
I'm tired.
So, Dad starts sending over presents and gifts from England. One of those gifts happens to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes blue jeans blue. Is anybody wearing denim tonight? Nobody's wearing blue jeans tonight. Welcome to 2021, everybody. So, that's what we still use it for today. Are you wearing jeans?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Angela's wearing jeans. But I'm blind. I left my glasses in the car, so I'm supposed to be the owl that can see at night, but apparently I missed that. So these 2 young ladies are wearing denim or indigo right now. That's how we still use it today. It's a pretty big deal. Interesting thing about her indigo is she had to learn from her Gullah slaves how to keep it cultivated under weird temperatures. You guys are all from the South. You know it doesn't stay warm down here in South Carolina. So again, she had to learn how to keep it cultivated, then moved it to a plantation in Mount Pleasant, just north of here. She calls Dad up, not really, it's the 1750s. But she says, I need somewhere to sell this stuff. We're going to make a lot of money. The rice plantations were starting to go downhill. You guys have taken other tours. I'm sure you've heard a lot about rice down here in Charleston. With those plantations going downhill, she moves in with her indigo plant and starts selling indigo plants overseas. We have an international businesswoman in colonial times. This is huge. We're not even a country yet, and we got a woman making money on her own, even though she has a prominent husband in politics. So, a couple of weird facts about Eliza. I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg, by the way, of the things that she's actually done, but there's a lot of weird stuff about this woman. She was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So both Elizas go by their maiden name. It's the name they had before they were married. So they both start with the letter L. That's all I'm going to tell you. So try to find out what the maiden name is. Obviously, you can ask how old she was when she got married, how old was Charles. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. And then you can ask when that tragedy happened. Yes, there's your clue. It was a tragedy. As far as her death, hey Eliza, how old were you when you died? What did you die from? Where are you buried? What U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? So, sorry, I don't know the age group here, but pallbearers are the people that carry a coffin to their grave. So again, that's a pretty big honor. My grandmother asked me to be a pallbearer in her will, and I carried my grandmother to her grave because, yes, I was the favorite grandson. So it was an honor for me to do that. So she had a president do that for her. That's a big deal. Very big deal. Let's see what else. As far as the children go, tread lightly. Just maybe get some names of how many kids that she had. You already know she had at least one. His name was Charles. But there's a tragedy among those kids. In the event we start poking the bear too hard about what that tragedy is, all activity will stop in the event we have anything going on at all. So, we are going to stay within the confines of this lot. Excuse me. I told you guys got me talking tonight. We're definitely going to get your video started, so you can go ahead and hit your button now. Again, he has limited videos, so we're savoring it for our good hotspots like this. This is a place where you can definitely turn up those spirit boxes, listen in, share the audio, so you're not bothering anybody in here. This is a place where I get to check you guys in on all the different websites where you guys bought your tickets from, kind of give you guys all a head start to see what we're finding. ZILCA's already getting something on her EMF reading, so I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you, seeing what's happening with all of your devices and seeing what you guys are catching. That was pretty awesome. I don't know if that was from you or not, but that was a very subtle movement, and it shouldn't have gone up that high. So, let's turn those spirit boxes up. Let's spread out. Remember, I can't prove anything back here, so move forward. Let's go that way. Give me just a minute, and I'll start catching up with all of you.
Oh my gosh. Ask it a question. Yeah. It's like country music.
Eliza, are you here? We have another Eliza here. Would you like to meet her?
Whoa, mine's going really up.
And Grace, you can crank that thing in here. Give it some volume.
Okay.
You just don't want to interfere with what Angela's got going on with her. So that way you guys aren't over listening to.
So we should be constantly asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, okay. Okay.
Wait like 5 to 10 seconds
About-
between each question. I normally ask the same question multiple times. Like, hey Eliza, how old were you when you died? Oh, wait 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Ask the same question again. Give her time to muster the answer. Keep in mind, this is what I tell people all the time. If 3 spirit boxes running, audio here, audio here. You ask a question, somebody else can get the answer, or it might show up as disembodied voices on our audio. So a lot of times when I have smaller groups, I'll use one of these spirit boxes and walk away from the couple that I'm taking around town and say, hey Eliza, how many people did I bring with me? They'll turn around and say, it just said 2. Does that mean anything? I asked a question over here, they got the answer. Happens all the time. Again, this is a very big hotspot for me. Only 4 times in 2 years did I not get anything out of this one, as far as very specific details. Names of people, dates, things that happen to the kids, whatever might happen. Go into detail. She's willing to answer, as long as you don't poke around that kid. Just don't ask about that kid.
If I see anything in here, am I supposed to do anything or just
keep filming?
Okay.
Again, once I check you guys in, I'm going to show you evidence first so you have a little bit better gist of what you're looking for.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, you can definitely keep that thing. I mean, you can even go louder than that if you want to. You're not bothering anybody in here.
Eliza, are you here? Eliza, are you here? We would love to know what happened to your mansion.
Eliza, what happened to your mansion?
Can you tell us about your garden? I think we're standing in it.
Wait, what? Shouldn't you film over there if it like goes high?
So if she's your daughter, who's that?
She's
tag along?
Just
That's
tag
her
along.
friend.
So I hate to assume anything. One night I called somebody a couple, and they were brother and sister. And it was kind of like, okay, that got weird real fast.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, they're on fall break, and I just brought them here for...
Gotcha. So this happened up in that corner up there. So
Is that anything? No.
So it's 82. Trying to see if it's the window. It's the window off in the distance.
Oh.
Glass is always going to be the coldest thing in there. So if you see windshields, you can't see through glass. So you're going to see two heads walking by. Those are living people. See how they're orange?
Mhm.
So going the opposite direction, you're going to see two black heads going this way past the wall. Right about there.
Okay.
So not a car. Always happy
Okay.
to rewind. So I've had it analyzed by firemen, and we can freeze frame it, frame by frame. You can
Okay.
literally see two heads.
So I just need to be real...
Again, we didn't even catch that in real time. I caught that the next morning. The team had
Okay.
called me up to the corner because one girl claimed she kept seeing shadows. And I was like, all right, so you want to try to be as still as possible, just like you are right now. That's the good stuff.
So
Okay.
when I'm like turning, I just should like stay for a second until I.
So again, whenever you're moving, just real slow, real graceful, like females do. So again, just real slow if you're going to move it around. But again, because if you start jerking it around, that's when it's going to beep all night long, and it's going to be hard to tell what's when. Have you seen anything go past that green, the second green dot?
Yeah, I saw the next one, but it might have been from. I mean, I think I was pretty still when it went up. It went to blue.
Okay. Well, with you having the same name with Eliza, could be interesting if, say, introduce yourself. Say, if you're actually here, make this thing go through. Name our name through this black box. Yeah, just people keep going in time. They have no idea what this stuff is. It's a black box with a metal stick. Like, that's the mentality you need to have when you're asking questions. So, have you heard anything in? Like, you gave me the worst advice ever. It's the hardest one. All right, Melissa.
Hey, Eliza, what's our name? Eliza, would you care to tell us? And the girl in the orange shirt's name is Black Box, please.
Eliza, how old were you when you died? Did you die in this house?
Eliza, if you're here, make this go to blue.
Eliza, what was your maiden name? think we're standing in your garden. Can you tell us what you had in your garden?
Would we just hear it through that?
No, he said that it might show up.
On
On-
another sound
yeah.
on its phone?
It sounds like your garden was pretty special. Can you tell us what you grew? My daughter is Eliza in the orange shirt. It's a beautiful name. We would love to meet you.
Eliza, how old were you when you died? Tell him to walk in. Eliza, do you want to tell us something about your
Eliza, what was your husband's name? I would love to know what happened to your house. I'm standing in an empty lot.
Eliza, can you tell us your name? There's a black box.
Is anyone else here that lived in the house? Is there a Charles here? Husband's here. What was the husband?
All right, girls, what are we hearing now?
I heard active prison
Act in prison?
and prisons. Like
Present.
prisons.
Present. Gotcha. Yours doesn't record either, so I have to write every step. Nothing specific enough yet. However, if you notice ZILCA's device over there, she's getting like over 25 milligauss on your fake number. So if you want to test to kind of see like what's going on where they're standing, there's a lot going on right there. So her thing keeps spiking the red.
Y'all are having a lot of activity. What kinds of questions are you asking?
Just the ones you told us to, for the most part.
Let's see if I can try to get you on the video.
Eliza, did you have a favorite color?
Eliza, what was your house made out of?
You guys are all giving me all kinds of notes now. You got anything going on with yours? She had
It
great-
went up to 14.
Okay.
And that was probably the highest one. It's gone up about right now.
Reset. 14. So, she got a name over there, which is definitely relevant. The name is George. So maybe you can ask who the heck is George? Because there's 3 different Georges tied to this site. So I'd like to know which one we're actually speaking about, or 2. So maybe you can try to ask who the hell is George? Not so much in those words, but who the heck is George?
Who the hell is George? Eliza, who is George? Can you tell us about him?
Eliza, we would love to know who George is. Is George here?
Were you related to George? Eliza, who's George? You said why? You would love to just know who George is. Please, Eliza. How would you? How were you related to George, Eliza?
Did you grow up in Charleston? Eliza, can you tell me what color hair you had? Did you have blonde hair?
Eliza, how many siblings do you have?
Did you say 2 Elizas lived in this house?
She said that Charles
was married.
was married to 2 Elizas
Did they
at
both?
different times.
Yeah.
And they both had the maiden name starting with L.
Did they both live here at this time?
Eliza, did your husband's other wife live in a mansion as well?
We would love to know which Eliza we're talking to. Can you say your maiden name?
That's fine.
I know, he probably is just worried because he didn't know. I forgot to tell him we were doing this. I'll text him.
Eliza, who gave you the indigo? Eliza, did you ever go to Big John's?
Alright. Any answers about George? Nothing on your end? Have you heard of anything at all?
No.
You guys might need to swap.
Maybe she likes me more.
We can't talk. We are doing a tour until 10:30. I will call you from there. We can't talk. We are doing a tour. Can you tell us what street this house
Here a second. Let's
stood-
get over this
stood
way.
on?
Get everybody grouped up. Alright. Never, if you want to stop your video, save it. Any words along the way?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't worry about
Okay,
the timer.
okay.
The timer will get all weird on you. You can record in here if you want to. I'd like to get more footage in here, especially when it's dark. Again, it won't be dark for too much longer. I'm sure Magnolia is fighting to get back open again. Stop here and kind of give everybody the gist of what this place actually is. Alright, so with this particular alley, the last crosswalk we came over, that was the original Charlestown Wall. So Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. This is one of the first streets we ever had in Charlestown. So I like to bring people down here. People used to live here. It's 2 big buildings, including Knowledge Alley, where them 2 were staying. They weren't here back in the 1800s. People used to live here, little tiny houses. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. The names you gave me, the words didn't match up. Have you heard any names along the way? And did you hear any names along the way? Nothing. The Two names I commonly get are Benjamin and John. The irony there, they show up about once every month or every 6 weeks. They both lived here in 1801. That's 2 out of 5 people. 5 in 1801. Because there weren't many people that lived here at any given time. I don't find it ironic or coincidental that I get the same names on different boxes or the same box. It just doesn't matter. It's always Benjamin and John. Every once in a while, the name Jane will come through as well. That's a third person out of the 5, 1801. So, very interesting alley. The Freemasons actually had a Masonic lodge here. That's why it's called Lodge Alley. So, we get the word Freemason, brick, anything dealing with Freemasons, including the word Illuminati. I caught that one about 3 months ago. I found it absolutely hysterical. I'm like, are you kidding me? Illuminati, Freemasons, let's do this. So they did do an archaeological dig on this one, unlike the Pinckney Mansion site. Found some of their hardware, some of their tools, little bits of their clothing. We're able to classify these people as lower class. Makes sense. Going down East Bay Street this way, on the opposite side of the street that we were walking, was the other side of the wall. Smell of low tide would have came through here quite often. Not a place the higher people of Charleston would have wanted to live. So again, this is a very interesting place. We're going to continue walking through here. We're going to be in a neighborhood. We're just cutting through, going to the right. We're literally right on the edge of where tour guides are allowed to go. So again, Spirit Box is listening to one person only at that point. Cameras, if you want to keep going, you can. I would say once you exit the alley, it's up to you. It's your tour if you want more footage. But I do want to get a lot of footage at the Powder Magazine, which is the very last location we're going to be at. From here, we're going to go to St. Philip's. I'm going to let Tessa's list kind of lead which stories I tell based on which pieces of evidence are coming up, or if you guys hear something specific. There's like 15 stories on that street corner. There's a lot going on there. You're going to see other tours. Most of them go to 20 people. As I'm sure you noticed, we're a much smaller group. We're going to stay out of their way. Again, you guys join the annoying group with your blinky lights and your noisemakers. So, again, we just stay out of their way. We'll kind of take our place, and we'll do our little story time, and then we're going to go over to the Powder Magazine to investigate a female pirate. So, again, lots going on in the next few locations. So, let's go see what we can find. Bless you. The rest of the way is bless you again. By the way, all the hotels in Charleston have some kind of claim of ghost, but none of them give me free rooms. So next summer, I'm going to be doing a round robin of all the haunted hotels to see which ones are true and which ones aren't.
Yes.
Charlestown Walls, right? So this is the street right here where the Charlestown Wall used to come up. So it came right up Cumberland Street, went right past the Powder Magazine, started going south towards the back. It's tucked into the corner on purpose. In the event it gets attacked by cannon from the water 3 blocks away, it's going to have a hard time getting through those very thick walls, 32 inches thick. So let's say it goes all the way through and it blows up the gunpowder inside. The roof you see with the red shingles, there's sand underneath those shingles. The gist behind that is that the gunpowder will blow the sand up in the air, and then the sand will fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. Another great idea that doesn't work. So, we had another Powder Magazine just like this near the battery, obviously much closer to the water. It got hit, sand in the air. I know, right? It just blew it up, and the sand fell and couldn't put out the fire. The whole building burned to the ground. It no longer exists. This building has never been attacked, even though it's been served in 7 different wars, including the Civil War. So again, very interesting building. I tell you all of this crazy history on this one building because our story is actually starting right in the middle of its construction. This building took 10 years to build. Doesn't sound like our government, does it? No, not at all. 1703 to 1713, our story begins in 1708. Yes, the story begins now. So, follow me. Anne Cormack. She moves here from Ireland in 1708 with her dad and his mistress. The mistress is her mom. You guys with me so far? Okay, so the three of them are getting away from his wife. Halfway across.
Such as the world turns.
I know, right? So, they land here in Charleston. Dad buys a plantation in Georgetown. It's about an hour and a half from here. Mom dies pretty quickly after they get here. He starts sending his young daughter down to Charlestown to do all the business to sell whatever they have from the farm, from the plantation. So, we're going to fast forward. The building is finished 1713, 1715. Anne is about 16, 17 years old at this time. Pirates are coming through town. Give you the mentality of this young lady. Back home in Ireland, she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly, like when she was a kid. Just kind of telling you who she is. So, when pirates are coming through town, she's in. She's going to fall in love pretty quick. She falls in love with a guy named James Bonny. So Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. You're going to approve Eliza to marry a filthy pirate? I'm not going to approve my daughters to marry filthy pirates. So they run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormac becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. So when she gets down there, she realized this is not the Captain Jack Sparrow guy that she wanted. This isn't, he's not hardcore. He's a privateer. In her eyes, he's a coward. He's a spy for the British. This is not who she wanted. A few years later, she falls in love again. We're on guy number 2, by the way. I'm going to keep tally. This guy, his name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Much cooler name, has his own ship. This is who she wants to be with. Calico Jack tries to buy the dowry from James Bonny, and he refuses. So she's still married to Bonny this whole time. Jack has his own ship. Anne wants to be part of it. Girls curse pirate ships. You cannot have a female on a pirate ship. They just curse them. He makes a deal with her. You can dress like a guy, like part of the crew, and I'll let you on. She's okay with this cross-dressing bit because Dad back home in Ireland used to dress her up as a boy to hide her away from his wife. So she's okay, let's do this. So she's allowed to be a female in his quarters. Of course, he's the captain. Eventually she gets pregnant. Obviously I fast-forwarded a few things on that one based on the age group. Cannot have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. It's not going to work. He drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back, we'll figure it out later. She has the baby, she comes back, there's no baby. We have no idea what happened to that first child. She's also dressed like a girl. She doesn't give a damn about hiding her gender anymore. This makes Jack mad. You all know her mentality, so she's going to make him even more mad. He just captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck on his ship. She's going to go flirting, because that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3. The guy she starts flirting with turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew the Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females dressed like guys doing the exact same thing. She convinces this young lady, whose name is Mary Read, to become part of the ship. The British find out where they are. They send the entire fleet, multiple ships, to come take down one pirate ship. Now, Anne and Mary are the only 2 above deck fighting back because all the other men are too drunk to come up, down below deck. So it's 2 ladies taking on a bunch of ships. Obviously the ship's going to get taken. Now, as Calico Jack and his men were being arrested, Anne's last words were to Jack, you should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog. So the word dog will show up here from time to time. The judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back, by themselves. He tries and hangs Jack and all his men. They're already dead and gone. November 28th, 1720, the 2 young ladies go in front of the judge. They reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're females. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies, was the last thing they said, trying to save themselves, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. Not that it shouldn't be illegal anyway, to hang anybody, but anyway, can't hang a pregnant lady. Okay, fine, we'll delay your hanging. Send them both back to jail. Dad is still here in Charleston with his Irish money. He brings her back home. She remarries again, guy number 4, yes, we're counting Mary Read, has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. That's all we know. As far as Mary Read, she dies a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. I'm sure it was scurvy or bumpy or gross or whatever imagination thing you want to come up with. There's a lot of holes in this story, but there's only 2 things that I can prove that I did not tell you. The name of Calico Jack's ship and the name of Anne Bonny's parents. So, again, ask whatever you want to, have fun with it. Cameras. If you want to go to the front of the building to get some footage, you can. Your battery's dead, isn't it?
Yes.
It always dies as soon as we come in here. So, it's because of the length of time.
Oh.
Yeah, it's nothing paranormal. We're good. So,
None of us filming.
So again, I'm going to change out the battery on this one. Spirit boxes, we can turn them up here. Keep in mind, these are apartments back here. None of you have my laser grids tonight, so that's good. EMF, this is normally a dead zone. If you guys get anything, Eliza, anything above 2.5, it usually means something is happening on somebody else's device. It's not going to be the Pinckney Mansion site like where you had all reds. So again, get that REM pod moving, turn up that spirit box, turn up your spirit box. Let's Let's see what we can capture. But again, the front of the building, the only thing I ask is that you stay out of the way of the other tours. They already don't like me. Let's not get into that mess. But again, poke your cameras right through the gates. Get a little bit of footage. Come back over here. We'll see what we capture. Your camera loves to act up in here. Does all kinds of funky stuff. So we'll see if anything's going to happen like that tonight. Again, so far, my most prominent stuff is going to be the Georges we heard on the S-Box. So again, once I start going through things, we'll kind of see what's going on. I'm very honest with you guys. I'm always going to tell you after I collect the devices if this was light, mediocre, or if it was super heavy. We're not even close to super heavy as far as the amount of evidence. Right now, we're on the light to medium, just because of the very specific name that we heard multiple times. We did hear another George coming up from around Philadelphia Alley, around this corner, that came up on the SB7 spirit box. No relevance, because I don't have any Georges on any of these stories. Just weird that we heard it again. So, again, there's our 3. We'll take it for what it's worth. So, let's turn up those spirit boxes. Paul, stay with me. Let's get your camera changed out. Have some fun, guys. Let's do this. I carry 5 batteries for this exact reason. When I'm on my own investigations.
Didn't we just say the 2 things? The 2 things that he didn't.
What is the name of the childhood Jackson? And then what was Anne's parents? What was Anne's parents' names, and then what was the name of childhood Jackson?
Anne, are you here? Can you tell us the name of the ship? And what happened to the baby you had in Cuba?
And what was the name of your dad? And can you tell us your dad's name?
And what were your parents' names? Can you tell us what happened to your baby? Can you tell me how old you are? And what was your husband's name? Did you just hear something?
We heard it say individual when we asked about her mom.
What was your mom's name? What was your mom's name?
I heard red. I mean, both times.
You heard what?
Heard red 2 times. Red? Red.
And what was your mom's name?
Liv.
Can you tell us again your mom's name? Can you tell us your dad's name? Can you tell us who's here? Is anybody here with us now? Did you lie to me?
Yeah, that's what I heard. So we
Did
have
somebody lie to you? Did somebody lie to you?
I heard you.
Who lied to you?
James. Yeah, I heard James too. So we individual James, Love, Liv. Lied to. Did you lie to me? And did James lie to you, Anne? Exposed by her too. Maybe James exposed.
Did James expose that you were pregnant?
Her. We heard the name James.
James, as in James Bond.
And we asked about the ship, and we heard love.
We get the word love here a lot. So Miss ZILCA over there was a little embarrassed to tell me, but she did ask if Anne was in love with Mary. So we haven't gotten an answer, but you did get the word love.
Well, and we asked, we heard lied to,
Oh yeah, we heard,
exposed,
did
and
you
that.
lie to me? And then we said, who lied to you? And then we heard you and James.
Wow.
And then we heard exposed after that. And we
That's
heard,
like a whole script I gotta write.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I'm
right
excited
here.
about James.
Yeah.
Let's go with that one. So James on the SP7, and then we got this whole live bit.
And we heard individual. I got individual.
And love is definitely relevant based on the question that ZILCA asked. So. I'm finally in the light
How did we
records.
get to the question, who lied to you? What made it? I'm trying to think what.
We just heard.
Exposed.
We just heard. Did you lie to me? Come through on this thing.
Oh, right. Okay.
Have you gotten anything out of that guy at all?
I got like 3.2.
Okay, we'll take it. Again, small stuff in here is big stuff. Again, it's not going to be the Pinckney Mansion site. And by the way, the Pinckney Mansion site was where I got that 148, and that was probably 2 or 3 months ago. So I was down at the lighthouse, and that thing in St. Augustine went all the way up to 198, read the word error, refreshed itself. I left the room, I came back, it did the exact same thing. I'm like, okay, we have something going on. And then all of a sudden the motion meter was giving me activity while I was in there. So I've never seen it go that high, nor have I ever seen it read error before. So I was like, okay, apparently it only goes to 198.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it went 198. Super fast. I'm like, okay.
Went to 3.8.
That's higher than your 3.2. Yeah, you guys are actually getting decent stuff, so we're going to give this another minute or two. Have you seen anything funky going on with yours? Nothing?
No, but I keep taking I'm holding it in the same spot, but then when I kept taking my eye off we were trying to figure out what it was saying.
So one of the weirdest things that I caught with that camera here, other than what I showed you with Pinckney, was I was standing next to a young lady that had the red spear box, the one that Angela has. A white film came over her, left me alone. That spirit box stopped working. We walked away 10 yards. It started working again on record. That particular device takes 3 buttons to hit record, like to set it up. So the fact that it shut off all the way, no lights, couldn't do anything with it. I'm shaking it, hitting buttons, couldn't turn it on. Walked away, turns right back on, and it's on record, but it gave me 2 recordings. So it was almost like something, like the camera showed it first. It was just weird. It said, that's for nothing. Did you hear that? Very interesting. Maybe they're talking about the guy moaning down there. That's for nothing.
Paul called me. Paul called me. I didn't hear Paul.
Are you still here? Can you tell us your parents' names? Can you speak up and say your parents' names?
I heard Paul again, yeah. Maybe Paul said that. Yeah.
Did we tell him, Paul?
No.
So Paul is your dad's name?
Fall in love.
Who did you fall in love with? Who did you fall in love with? So if Paul is your dad, what is your mom's name?
What's your mom's name?
Butter?
I'm butter knife.
Buttercup.
Anne, what is your mom's name?
We would love to know your mom's name.
Give to you. Can you give us your mom's name, Anne?
Maybe, did you already
My
give it?
father. Okay, wait. So what have we heard? Paul, my father,
Fall in love?
in love. That's
Was
it.
Buttercup your mom's
Butter
name?
something.
Is your mom's name Buttercup?
It's not. I literally just heard it's not.
I heard that too. What is it? That says. What is your mom's name? Can you try to say real loud your mother's name?
Through the black box. 59 cents. Wait, did he say something about 59?
Yeah. We should probably tell him. Did you already?
Izzy? Yeah, I heard Izzy.
Who is Izzy? Who is Izzy? Hey Anne, who is Izzy? Is Paul here? We're just kind of getting a lot.
Paul,
We've heard a lot. Yeah. Paul.
That's him. That's his name.
Oh, that's kind of scary. We heard Paul, and then we heard in love, and then we heard.
We hear in love a lot here.
We heard. What did we ask him when it said I did not or?
We asked if the name of your wife was Buttercup, and it said it is
we
not.
heard Buttercup at like one point. We asked what her mom's name was, and we heard Buttercup, and then we asked if her mom's name was Buttercup, and then we heard. It was very clear it is not.
Yeah,
we heard
it is not.
And then we heard Izzy.
Yeah, Izzy. Or like, is he or is he?
Right. Interesting.
It was butter. We were trying to figure. It was like butter or
something
something.
butter.
So we just kind of
Something said butter.
That's so weird. Well, her mom's last name was Brennan. That's why I was trying to piece that together in my head. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't even sound the same. And it's very interesting. You guys ready for some answers? Let's get Paul over here. Some interesting stuff is coming about. She's like, damn this gadget. Actually, let's head over to the wall. That gives me a chance to put the bag down and collect your guys' stuff.
Oh, and we heard 59.
59? Yeah. 59 Church Street, where the doctor stayed. Wow. That's pretty
Is that
awesome.
again?
They heard 50. Well, let's get everybody gathered up. 'Cause
Okay.
That's all good stuff. Alright. Set this down. We'll kind of go through this. You guys just knocked it out of the park. Paul, did you hear anything while you had the spirit box?
Only coincidental. I was asking a lot of questions, and then that song "Hold Tight" came on. So I don't think that was relevant.
Yeah, no. I'm going to start with everything that I'm going to go over here came out of Anna Grace's spirit box. So they did hear the name James, as in James Bonney. ZILCA was asking if Anne was in love with Mary, and we heard love and in love both on that spirit box over here.
Wow.
Paul, your name showed up several times.
Sorry about that.
We did get a spike of 3.2 and 3.8 milligauss, which is high in this location for this particular device. So again, anything over 2.5 is usually relevant. We did get the word free on Tessa's. So the interesting thing about the word free is most pirates that you don't hear about were actually originally slaves. So these ships that these pirates were taking over would carry cargo with slaves on them. They would give them an option to become part of the crew or send the ship on so they can come here and become slaves. So most of them took the option to become a pirate and become free. So again, free shows up here a lot. So I wasn't surprised. We heard that's for nothing when I was standing there with you guys. I heard the name Buttercup, but the only thing that comes to mind with that is The Princess Bride. So if you're an old movie buff, and if you guys heard my wife texting me tonight, my ringtone for her is "I'm not a witch. I'm your wife." So if you guys
I don't know
understand,
the like selection there. That word was said quite a bit.
yeah. So Buttercup, I don't feel like it's relevant, but I'm definitely going to look into anything named Buttercup. And then they heard the number 59. That's the address that the doctor stayed at, 59 Church Street, right up there. We also got the word newspaper tied to that story. So remember, Ralph placed an ad in the newspaper. So again, we have 2 relevant clues to that. So I'm going to be listening very close to Angela's recording when we get that, get that back. So nice job, because again, you guys had the hardest job out here as far as the spirit boxes, and it's not easy. Remember, I listen to them every morning. So when I go through them, I'm only going to give you 15 to 20 markers of things that I find. I listen to about a minute for every 5. So as I'm going through it, that's kind of how you get your markers. They will be in order. Any other words pop up before I start collecting that might be relevant?
Gesture, vinegar, following, contact, creation, found, leak, kill, route. A lot.
Just told us a whole story that I can't piece together. So, yeah, right? Again, we're still between that light to about average amount of evidence based on what these young ladies just heard. And I'm sure Deborah heard some of it too. But again, based on what they just found, especially with Paul's name. How many times did you guys hear Paul's name?
Twice, I think. Or
I think it was,
when I was standing there,
I
it was.
heard it once, but I heard it. I think it was 3. Yeah.
Okay, so Paul.
What do you know?
How many Pauls were here? I have no idea. I'll see if there's any famous Pauls
My
around here.
whole family was Pauls, and when my grandfather passed away, he asked all of them to be his pallbearers.
So Pauls were pallbearers?
It's a true story.
I don't think he can make that up.
It's very true.
It's been a night with you guys. So let me stop the audio recording. That kind of gives us the gist of how much data you're actually going to have. Let's see. What questions, comments?